Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at the Magicka Nightblade build. So you will find the written guide on alias.com/Azure. Let's get started. I know many of you have been waiting for it. Again, there is a few kind of interesting combos available. I will try to show them off. Plus we're not using necropotents anymore. I will talk about that set later. So basically, buff food, Magicka and health buff food, like always. The potions, we're using essence of spell power, spell damage, spell crit, and like restore Magicka. The standard ones, basically. Now, in terms of race, what you want to be is either a dark elf or a high elf. Those are the two highest, like those are the two races that deal the most damage. A Breton also works, but then again, Altmer or Dunmer is the best. Now, when you check my stats and I buff with a potion, 2.4k spell damage, 61% spell crit, 45k Magicka, and 18.6k health. Really high Magicka, I like that. Now, we are using twice 1 star. So, why twice 1 star and not necropotents? The thing with necropotents is you need to have your shade active, right? And the problem with the shades in trial is that they steal buffs from spell power cure, for example. So people really dislike that set. Anyway, if nobody has complained, keep using necropotents, okay. Now, if you want to check the gear setup, take a look at the sheet here. Basically, so now what we are running is 5 pieces twice born star, 2 Grofgar, if you are melee. If you have to play ranged, use Valkin. Valkin is like 1 to 1.5k less DPS. It's not that huge of a difference. But you have to be aware of that with Grofgar here, you see you get the 1 piece Magicka bonus, and with Valkin it's a health bonus. That's kind of the trade-off you make. Then we are using 3 Moondancer jewelry. And now, kind of the tricky part. Basically, you want to have a Moondancer Inferno stuff sharpened on the front bar. I don't have one, so I'm using a Frost one. Frost, Shock, Inferno, all works, just make sure to have it in sharpened. Best would be the Inferno one, okay. Then we have a spell damage glyph on the weapon. And now, as you can see on the sheet there, like, we want to have 2 Moondancer swords on the back bar. Basically, and if possible both sharpened, but I know many don't have them, but that's why, like, I know many don't have Moondancer swords, so I just put the Maelstrom Inferno stuff there sharpened. I also know many don't have that, don't have the Maelstrom stuff, so on my website you will find an alternative setup that you can basically farm alone if you want to. Now, why Moondancer swords on the back bar? So basically, if you have 2 swords here, you will have the 5 piece bonus on the back bar, and you see, when you activate the synergy, you gain 450 spell damage. So what you can do is, when you're on the back bar, you can pop the synergy, swap back to your main bar, and you will have the 450 spell damage, which is really, really fucking OP. Plus in AoE, if you have 2 swords, like, you always use synergy, so you always have that 450 extra spell damage, really strong. But I know it's a pain in the ass to get those swords. I'm fucking farming those trials forever, and I don't have a single sword, okay? Let's just put it like that. I heard it drops more from the weeklies, but I cannot confirm that. Now, anyway, if you don't have swords, the world doesn't end, okay? It's just, it would be more optimal. Now, my setup now is with 2 Destro stuffs. So basically what you can do is, if you use dual wield here, you could use Inferno stuff on the, like a Maelstrom stuff on the main bar. Make sure that it's sharpened though, because you want to keep the Maelstrom crushing wall enchantment, so you do like 1.3k more damage on your light and heavy attacks. So depending on what setup you use, you have to be careful where you use which kind of skill, okay? Really important. Then again, it's probably easier to get the Moondancer stuff than a fucking Maelstrom Inferno sharpened, I guess. Anyway, let's move on. Also, make sure to have 5 light, 1 heavy, 1 medium, because of the Undaunted passive. Here, you get 6% more resources. Now, let's get to the champion points. So, I put 25 into Thaumaturge, 1 Staff Expert, 100 Elemental Expert, and 61 Elfborn. Then we have 87 Arcanist and 100 in Magician, 87 Hardy, 100 Elemental Defender. You could configure those according to the jump points, but it really doesn't fucking matter, okay? It doesn't matter. In terms of skills, so basically that's where Nightblade is probably one of the more complicated ones, because it's kind of hard to... Okay, let me just explain the skills. So first off, we have Twisting Puff here, it's a nice dot. We have Crippling Grasp. Here it's basically your main dot, the highest damage dot you have. Force Pulse, we don't use Funnel, I will tell you in a second why. Merciless Resolve, the fucking Spectral Bow hits so hard, it's stupid. Inner Light, 5% more Magicka, basically 7% more Magicka, because here of this passive increases your max Magicka for each Mage's Guild ability slotted. So I have here 2% and Shooting Star another 2%, so those skills give me 9% more Magicka. Backbar, Blockade of Fire because of the Maelstrom stuff. Then Sap Essence. Now again, if you have dual wield here, you don't want this skill on the second bar, you want it on the first, and you want Twisting Puff on the second. Then we have Crippling Grasp again, I will tell you in a second why. Impale, our main execute, Inner Light, and Soul Harvest. So now, why do I have this kind of setup? So first off, we are not using Kina, it's a fucking shit set anyway, I never liked it and I never used it. Now, because we don't use Kina, we don't really have resource issues, because it depends how good your support is in trial groups. If you have issues, put Siphoning attacks where Crippling Grasp is, okay. Now, I assume you have decent group support and you're not getting into Magicka issues. So, why this setup? So basically, on a single target fight, the only time we go to the back bar is when we reapply Blockade, right? And Twisting Puff doesn't do a lot of damage, but what you can do is, when you use it, you can weapon swap cancel the skill. So I use this, the animation is really slow, but now I basically press the Twisting Puff and then I weapon swap at the same time. It still went off, you see? And you basically don't see the animation. So you don't really lose any time using this skill. Okay. Basically we drop this, light attack, this, swap back. It's not easy to do. But you can weapon swap cancel those two skills really nice. So that's the only time we really go to the back bar during the fight. Now, when the execute starts, of course, we are staying on the back bar, and now you can see I have Crippling Grasp on both bars. So during the execute phase, I can keep up the Blockade and I can keep up the Crippling Grasp and I can use Impale. So I do not have to fucking weapon swap to just reapply some skills in the execute, because we will lose time, we will lose damage. So that's why I have this on both bars. If you have sustain issues, use Siphoning attacks here. It's still, I mean, if you're on the back bar, you just could reapply Crippling Grasp as well and then swap back. But that's just the idea behind this kind of setup. Now we also have Soul Harvest on the back bar, simply because you see the last text, while slotted, anytime you kill an enemy you gain 10 ultimate. So this is our AoE bar, right? So we keep this here up and we spam Sep. Every time somebody dies, something dies, like bam, 10 ultimate. Really nice. They use the Shooting Star on the main bar. Now, I'm more a fan of this. If the ads are like stacked up properly, you also could use the Destro ultimate, but I don't know, I kind of feel like this is better for a Nightblade because you get ultimate back so fast. Also due to the passive here, Catalyst. When you drink a potion you gain 20 ultimate. So you pop the ultimate, you drink the potion, bam, 20 extra ulti points, really nice. Now why do we not use funnel? So basically I did some tests and the fucking problem with funnel is, I mean funnel or swallow soul, it doesn't matter. Your light attacks do 0 damage. So there is a problem. Zenimax thought it was a good idea to change animation cancelling because everybody QQing like animation cancelling is bad for the game. So they kinda tried to fix it, but of course they can't fix it. Now the shit is just broken, okay? So when you do light attack weaving, sometimes when you do animation cancelling too fast, you see the light attack ball shoot out, right? But it doesn't fucking do damage. And it's basically, the main issue is only funnel health, okay? I don't know why in particular this skill, but that's why we are using force pulls. We don't have the problem there with this weird light attack bug. Go test it out. If it works for you, you can use funnel, it's really up to you. But I guess force pulls is the better choice now. Anyway, also really important, keep up Merciless Resolve, really strong ability. I think I covered everything. I hope you understood why I have this kind of bar setup. It's really important for the Nightblade. Also, if you use the dual wield setup, you know, you will have this skill on the front bar, remember, and you have Twisting Path here. So you don't need to weapon swap to reapply the wall. We just ignore that. We just use Twisting Path instead. Apply Crippling Grasp, use Impale. One last thing, maybe the Soul Harvest. You see, it deals 14k magic damage and decreases your damage against them by 20% for 6 seconds. So what you want to do is, if you start executing, use Twisting Path, use Crippling Grasp, use Impale, use the Soul Harvest, and then use Impale. Because you want to get as many Impale hits with the 20% damage buff as possible. Because if you use Soul Harvest, Crippling Grasp, Twisting Path, and then start Impale, there is like 2 seconds left on the 20% damage. That's not how you should do it, okay? That's really important. That's basically it. Again, people say Nightblade is shit, but if you think Nightblade is shit, it's probably more of a learn to play issue than anything else. Yes, ranged, if you have to play ranged, you will do a little bit less damage. But it doesn't matter, I mean, you're fucking ranged. If you play melee, you can deal a shit ton of damage. It's not the problem. It's just a learn to play issue in the end. I will try to play my Nightblade more, get it ready, so maybe, I don't know, in the next 1 or 2 patches I actually can play it in trials. Like my Magicka Sorc, because I'm mainly only playing other classes at the moment, but simply because I also need to learn to play first. Anyway, if you have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.